So I was sitting on my couch the other day thinking to myself, man, I'd really love to be a giant piece of shit right now. So I thought about the shittiest thing I could possibly do, which was pull out my phone and start perusing X, the AIDS armpit of the internet. Anyways, as I was scrolling through there, I saw another content creator, young guy. This isn't a poopo on him, but he was very upset, very, very, very mad because he had just made his first $1 million in a year or something like that. And he recently then discovered what his tax bill was going to be. It was especially bad because he was living in the communist bisexual empire of California, which if the taxes you don't know there, it's like 54%. It's fucking insane. But at least they get good social services and it's really safe in LA and stuff. All right, anyways, we're not going to talk about that. Anyways, he stated, paraphrasing, fuck, the only way you can actually get rich in America is by making a $100 million company and selling it. He was very disheartened. It sucks. You know, the first time you make money, you see your tax bill. And I thought to myself, I bet that guy would like to actually know how to get rich and how to not actually pay any taxes for it at all, which I know how to do. This last year, I in fact increased my net worth by $50 million and I didn't pay a single cent in tax for it. And what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show not only this angry kid on the internet, but I'm also going to show you how to actually go and become wealthy in the United States of America without paying any taxes. And I'm going to show you the best way, even if you live in fucking Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Hogwarts, it doesn't matter where you live, even if you don't pay taxes, this is still the best way to get rich as fast as possible. See, what I'm going to show you in this video is a core understanding that rich people, me, have, that poor people, you, just simply do not have. I don't know anybody outside of my little tight group of rich friends that understand this. Nobody thinks like this. When I spell it out to people, it's like I'm speaking French. It's really not even that complicated. But if you understand this, you're not only going to be able to not pay taxes forever and just basically pay nothing. You ever see AOC and all the Democrats being like, the rich don't pay taxes? They're fucking right. We don't. Haha, fuck you. It's because of how we move money around and how we store money and how we borrow money. And it actually comes down to the fact that we actually never make any money on paper. And you'll actually see the reason why we don't pay taxes is actually very fair, which I'm going to break down this video. But the cooler thing about this video is I'm going to break down how you can make money as fast as possible. Look, he said the only way you can get rich is building a $100 million company. Sort of. The way you get rich in America or anywhere is you actually don't focus on income. You don't try and make money. You try to build equity value, which is what I'm going to teach you right now. Let's begin. Now, look, this video is going to be actually about understanding money. If you want the actual business tactics, every single month I give away all my old courses I used to make. It's like $20,000 worth of courses, all my sales techniques, all my business growing techniques, how I run ads, copywriting, everything. I give it away to all my subscribers in my community tab. But you have to be subscribed or you won't see that post. So go subscribe, click that little button right now, and I'm going to give you tons of other supplemental content to go along with it that's on the channel as well because I've already made enough money that I don't have to sell you courses like everybody else on YouTube. Let's begin. So I know what you're thinking. How on earth did this motherfucker grow his net worth $50 million a year? And you have to actually factor in, that doesn't even include my income. That's just my net worth gains. On top of that, I make tens of millions of dollars a year on top of that. So this video is going to be very useful. It's coming from a person that actually knows what they're doing instead of a person that makes YouTube videos on business to sell you courses on business. And everything I'm going to focus on in this video comes from my software companies, not my crypto trading or investment or sleazy shit like that. This is all just good old fashioned business that you can go and learn from too. At the end of this video, I'll break down the business and how it grows and everything I do right there. But you have to have this understanding that I'm going to break down right now first, or you won't get any of that. So look, the way most people think you get rich is you make a lot of income. So for example, if we look at the worst fucking quarterback of all time, just like the most overpaid piece of shit quarterback, the most overplayed employee in the history of employees, Dak Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. This guy makes $40 million a year. And everybody thinks this is how you get rich. You go and make a lot of money in income. So this guy gets paid $40 million a year to throw 10-yard passes like a 15-year-old girl. And people think, oh, wow, he's made it. But after you look at everything he does and all the agents and all the stuff he probably has to pay, he probably makes like $20 million per year, then probably spends 5 of that. And then at the end of all this, he's probably left with about $15 million a year. So this is really good. And I'm just really taking this opportunity to shit on Dak Prescott. It doesn't really have to do anything with my point. My point is, one, if you look at all the money he's making, he's really not keeping much of it at the end of the day. Over the span of a 10-year career, it's only about $150 million, not $400 million like people think. So one, that sucks. And that's just one, expresses point number one. It's really hard to actually make money in America if you are going through income alone, even if you're getting paid shit tons of money. Like you have to make so much damn money to make a net worth from this. And then you can't even keep any of this. You have to go and invest it if you actually want it to be safe. This is a bummer. And so what you have to focus on when you want to get good at making money is you never actually try to make income, because income's kind of stupid because it's a double-edged sword. See, let's imagine I'm going and building a business and it's making $1 million per year in profit. So let's say we have a $2 million per year business, 1 million in profit. Now, what every person is going to do is they're going to pay themselves this $1 million in profit. Now, there's a few angles we can go at this. A lot of people are gonna be like, no, just keep investing in your business, keep growing your business. Yes, that's correct. But you have to understand at the core level what we're trying to do if we're trying to make money here. So look, if we pay ourselves to $1 million right here, we're gonna pay at least $400K in taxes on it alone. Now, I'm not gonna really focus on taxes too much here, because if you don't want to pay taxes, you just move to Dubai. It's that simple. The end, okay? That's the solution. The point here is how to build wealth as fast as possible while also not paying taxes. So when you're building a business, paying yourself from the business is a double-edged sword, because not only does the money leave the business, but it also stops the business from growing. So for example, if we had invested $1 million in hiring like a really talented employee, new infrastructure, whatever, the business could have grown to maybe $4 million the next year. And if we reinvest the money, then it can have grown to $10 million. But let's imagine we don't make money this entire time. You're thinking to yourself right now, well, what's the fucking point? Why am I doing this shit? It's because of this. See, when you're building a business up, let's imagine we get a business to $10 million per year. And there's potential for profit. We just keep reinvesting the money into the business, and that's what keeps growing the business. Look, if you have a $10 million business per year and you're losing $10 million and you're breaking even on it, that's not good. If you have a business that's maybe making $10 million per year and you could take home $5 million in profit, but you're reinvesting the profit to grow the business keeps growing, and that's gonna look really, really good on paper because of this. See, if you're in a business that has that situation, the value of this business on a low multiple is about $50 million. On a decent multiple, it's probably anywhere from $80 to $100 million. So if you're in like tech or something like me, you could pull a Fugazi and value your company at 10x. I don't do that. Whenever I mention my company values, I base it off of offers our company has received or the lowest possible multiples in our niche. So for example, in software, I usually base my company values on like a 4-ish to 5x on revenue, or based on past offers that we've received. So I'm not just pulling out 10x multiples like every other motherfucker on YouTube who makes like $1 million and it says their company's worth 100 mil. That's not what I'm doing here. But we're here to focus on you. All right. So the business at this point, let's say you get it to $10 million per year, which I know you're thinking, oh my gosh, whatever. Just work with these same multiples in whatever business you're building. Maybe it's $1 million per year. I'm just using 10 mil as a reference right here. So this business right here is now worth, let's say low end, $50 million. Now, we got it to this point because we didn't pay ourselves and we kept reinvesting the money back into the business to grow the business as fast as possible. Now you're thinking, well, how do I actually make money? Well, the business is valued on paper at $50 million. Okay, so if you own 100% of that business, you now have $50 million if you sold the company, which we don't want to do, because moving like this prints money. See, look, if we were to go and say we have this business that's making $10 million per year and we have the potential to take 5 mil out every single year, but we put the 5 mil back in and we use that to grow the business to $15 million per year, theoretically, right there. Right? So instead of paying ourselves, we send the 5 down here and we grow it to $15 million per year. You see right here, based on the multiples, that 5 million equates an actual valuation of the company to about 25 million. So instead of making 5 million right here, we just made another 25 million in actual net worth. You see how this works? Instead of paying ourselves, we pay the company and we use the money strategically to grow the company. Look, if your business is doing $10 million per year with $5 million profit, you can probably find a way to invest $5 million to grow it another 50%. Hell, you could just go buy another company with that money or something to grow the value of the company if you want. You can be real cheeky like that. So again, you're thinking, what's the point? When do I actually get to make money here? So what you can easily do, especially when rates are lower, which they're about to do, is you can go, and now we have this $75 million company because we didn't pay ourselves. What we can then do is borrow against this company. We can borrow all sorts of money. We can go borrow $30 million against the company to do whatever the fuck we want. You want to buy a house, you want to do whatever, you can go do that. Now, what I suggest doing is you buy other assets with this money. So for example, what you can do from the company is pay yourself very little, let's say out of the $75 million per year. And again, I understand these numbers are outrageously high for a lot of people watching this. This is fine. You can use this at lower numbers too. So let's imagine you pay yourself $500,000 a year in living expenses or something like that, a very small fraction of what the company is making. But the company allows you to borrow $30 million. You could go and get a $10 million house, a Lamborghini if you want. And if you're really smart, you'll start actually buying houses and cars and other shit that appreciates in value. So for example, that Lamborghini Ultima behind me, very, very rare form of Lamborghini with almost no miles on it. I don't drive it because the thing is an investment. The thing is going to appreciate year over. It's already up a lot of money since I bought it. And so you can see what I'm able to do is I'm able to have my cake and eat it too with my investments. I actually don't even like cars very much. I use it because it gets your guys' attention in videos. And I actually do like that car a lot. But the thing makes money like a stock. Regardless, when you're buying assets with money you borrow against the company, you can do that to then make the assets make you more money as well, increasing your net worth over time in a funny way, especially if rates are low. They've been very high the last few years. You're paying 5% on a loan or something like that. They're going to get back down to 1%, 2%. You buy an asset, for example, like that car behind me that appreciates 5, 6, 7, 8% a year. You're printing money while having fun at the same time. Just a little general tip for you. But the most important thing right here is that if we go and get the house, we go and pay our rent, we go and do whatever with this, we're taking money out of the company that we're not going to be taxed on. So we just bought a $10 million house. We're not going to be taxed on that. And then when we sell the money, we just give the money right back to the company and there's no tax on that. And so our goal really, when we're trying to get rich, period, is one, if we have $500, if we put the $500 in our pocket, the $500 is gone. If we have $500 and we put it back in the company, their $500, if it's used to grow the company in equivalent amount, is worth $2,500. We can get a 5x on our money net worth wise, and then we can borrow against the value of that. So we can grow our net worth and that money that we have access to very, very, very quickly. Now, finally, the last cool part about this is that when you want to make a lot of money, as the company grows quickly and the companies get bigger value, the multiples and everything start to go up as well. And so what you want to start doing when you think about how you build your businesses is I didn't do this for like the first 15 years of my career, is I was just focused on, okay, making $2 million a year. Now I want to make $5 million a year. Now I want to make $10 million a year. Okay, that's great and all, but that's not really the main point of the business. The point of the business is, so for example, at Hyros, we really received an offer last year for about $150 million, give or take. This is the valuation of the company last year. Since that time last year, Hyros has grown 40%, and we're on pace to do about 50% growth this year. So even on the lowest of low end, I've grown my net worth at least another $30, $50 million just from this, giving me access to tons of capital if I so want it, which I don't want right now. I could even go and just take a part of the company and sell Hyros, sell 10% for $15 million right now if I wanted something like that. But I don't want to do that right now. I'm just showing you that by going and investing the money back in the company as much as I can, I still get paid very well from my companies, and building new technology in it, I've managed to increase my net worth substantially more than I ever could in income. If I wanted to go and pay myself $50 million a year from Hyros, it's just not going to happen. That's an insurmountable amount of money, but I can add it to my net worth and then I can actually borrow from it. And if I want to, I could go find a buyer for the company. And that's how you get rich. You want to focus on growing the long-term value of your businesses because A, you don't pay taxes when the value of the business goes up. That's unrealized capital gains. This is like Elon Musk, for example. A lot of fucking retarded people think that Elon Musk has like $400 billion sitting in a bank account and he's just hoarding all of it and rubbing it on his body. He probably has maybe $1 billion liquid across everything. I would be surprised if he had access to more capital than that at any given time. Of course, he can raise money. Of course, he can sell stock for that. But he has absolutely no access to those gains because all of it is in his companies. And so he focused on growing the value of his companies, and that's what's made him so rich on paper. And he borrows all the things he does, and I don't think he has an extravagant lifestyle, but he could. He borrows all those things to buy other companies and moves money around by using that paper net worth to borrow. This is what every single rich person does. They never make income. If you see anybody make a lot of money, they're not keeping the money unless they're just pure stupid. So first, you want to focus on growing the money, not only because A, it's not taxed, but B, it's the fastest way to grow your net worth. If you take the money out and store it, it's going to cut the thing that's growing. It's like you have a plant and you just keep picking all the corn off of it when the corn is what makes it grow. That's not how plants work at all, but hopefully you get the metaphor. And then finally, when it comes to tax, if you're taking income out, again, you're just really shooting yourself in the foot because you're destroying the thing that's going to grow the business, that's going to grow the valuation of the business, and you're going to pay really large taxes on it. If you do end up selling the business someday, what's going to happen is you're only going to pay 20% taxes on it because of long-term capital gains. So again, you're just winning. And then when you have that money left in the business, if you can find ways to invest in things in the business that allow you to then wipe the slate clean the business, then the business isn't making any money, so it doesn't even pay any corporate taxes either. You have to be smart with this, get a CPA. I'm not giving you any advice right here, but there's legal ways and compliant ways which I suggest you to do all these things. But this right here is how you go and actually become rich in America. You don't go and try and make $1 million per year and then keep all of it. One, yeah, you're going to get taxed to hell, especially if you live in communist California. But two, it's a very inefficient way to make money. You don't want to be spending your years trying to make money like Dak Prescott. You barely get to keep any of the money that you make. What you want to do is you want to go and build things long term and continue to reinvest the money to get a 5x, a 10x on the money that you put into it. And it's just free money growing up your net worth that you can then borrow against tax free. This is how rich people get rich. Now, if you want to see how to actually grow businesses, A, subscribe. I'm going to give you all my courses with the actual techniques, the sales, copywriting skills, all that stuff. It's not a lead funnel. I'm just going to give it all to you. I have nothing to sell you on this channel. On top of that, below this video, there are 3 videos. There's a video on how to get to your first 100K a year. There's a video on how to get to 100K a year to $1 million a year. There's a video on how to get to $1 million a year to $10 million a year. It's all broken down for free in those videos below because I want your time and attention on this channel. So I'm just going to give you all this shit I know for free. That's it. See you next video.